can our system of government work if the administration is not candid?
Sometimes I feel like I'd like to wring somebody's neck.
Congress was astonished and
President Ronald Reagan takes office. Iran releases 52 American hostages after 444 days in captivity, thus ending the Iran hostage crisis, which occurred during the previous Carter administration. President Reagan authorized the CIA to undertake undercover actions against the Marxist Sandinistas in Nicaragua. From 1979 until Reagan's inauguration in 1981, U.S.-Nicaraguan relations were neutral. However, things changed when the Reagan administration signed a secret executive authorization to begin trying to overthrow the communist Sandinista government. The first Boland Amendment, restricting government support of the Contras in Nicaragua, is signed into law. The CIA then agrees to take weapons from the Israeli government and supply them to the Contras. President Reagan secretly continues to support the Contras indirectly through Honduras. In that same year, William F. Buckley, the CIA chief in Beirut, Lebanon, is kidnapped by Muslim extremists. 6 more American hostages are taken over the next year. President Ronald Reagan, Vice President George H.W. Bush, and top aides discuss how to increase support to the Contras using a third party. The CIA uses PLO weapons from the Israeli government and supplies them to the Contras. The Israeli government acts as a sort of middleman for U.S. operations. CIA secures Mansour Fares, an Iranian businessman, as a broker between Israel and Iran in the Arms for Hostages deal. In that same year, Congress began to react to executive actions by passing the Second Boland Amendment, which outlaws the use of CIA or third parties in aiding the Contras in Nicaragua. After his re-election, President Reagan articulates what became known as the Reagan Doctrine in his State of the Union speech. The doctrine strongly condemned Soviet aggression anywhere in the world and advocated support for freedom fighters. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, a member of Reagan's National Security Council, proposes using third-party donors like Saudi Arabia for supporting the Contras, since Congress will not permit direct support. President Reagan calls President Roberto Suazo Cordova of Honduras and pledges U.S. commitment to the Contras, even though Congress will no longer supply financial aid. Direct U.S.-Iranian contact was established to discuss the release of hostages in return for 3,000 TOW missiles. Iran demands more weapons, and the U.S. finds the demands unacceptable. Oliver North meets the Panamanian dictator Manuel Noriega to discuss assistance to Nicaragua. In exchange, the U.S. will apply less pressure on Noriega's illegal drug operation. United States Attorney General Edwin Massey discloses to the public that the government money has been sent to the Contras. President Reagan fires Oliver North. Fawn Hall, North's secretary, removes documents from his office. Tower Commission, led by former Senator John Tower, is created by President Reagan to investigate the Iran-Contra Affair. At the request of Attorney General Massey, a three-judge panel appoints Lauren Walsh, a former judge and deputy attorney general in the Eisenhower administration, to be the independent counsel. Walsh brought criminal charges against 14 Reagan administration officials and staff, including Oliver North, and private individuals. President Reagan addresses the country, admitting that his administration took part in the Arms for Hostages program without his knowledge. President Reagan addresses the nation again, stating that he deserves the blame for all the events in Iran and Nicaragua, but stresses that he was unaware of all the events. Iran-Contra congressional report is released. The majority report did not charge Reagan, but they called the administration's actions unethical. The minority report claimed that the actions taken by the president and his administration were within the powers of the executive branch. The trial of Oliver North begins.
As I stated it, not as you stated. So stop trying to change my story and move my story around. The facts are the facts.
And so in the Nuremberg trials, we said that the fact that the defendant...
May I please register an objection? I find this offensive. I find you're engaging in a personal attack on Colonel North, and you're far removed from the issues in this case. To make reference to the Nuremberg trials, I find personally, professionally distasteful, and I can no longer sit here and listen to this.
Well, we hope so.
They were covert operations.
Yes, they were.
And covert operations are designed to be secrets from our enemies.
That is correct.
But these operations were designed to be secrets from the Americans.
Oliver North was found guilty on 3 counts. He is sentenced to 2 years of probation, fined $150,000, and required to perform 1,200 hours of community service. Cold War encounters are what ultimately prompted the Reagan administration to support the Contras despite congressional disapproval. Defeating the Sandinistas became an important part of containment policy. Newly encountered setbacks in the Middle East are what ultimately prompted arms sales to Iran. Press encounters are what caused the affair to be so scandalous. The exchange between the Contras, the United States, Israel, and Iran reflects the complex interworking of Cold War relations internationally. The exchanges of the Iran-Contra Affair have shown presidential resolve to achieve global challenges of the time, but they also question the constitutional limits to executive authority. Congressional exploration demonstrated the dangers of unchecked executive authority. The Tower Commission's findings shocked much of the American public by showing the covert side of American foreign policy. In many ways, the Iran-Contra Affair explored what the government could get away with if there was an unaware public.